Greetings and welcome back. Welcome Sneak Cat, welcome Aleph, good fucking god Aleph, and welcome back to the Homestuck Epilogues Meat Edition. You meant to be asleep, but you somehow stayed up, so you're here. Well, we're glad to have you. Yeah, it's only been one day since the last stream, so I don't have a heck of a lot else to add in terms of pre-stream babbling, anything like that. Yeah, my phone is still doing its job. I'm happy about that. My new phone's working. Yeah, as we speak, I am giving my old phone one last charge. I'm gonna leave it with a full charge before I turn it off for probably the last time. It has served me well. August 2015 to May 2019. Rest in peace. Motorola Moto G3. You were good, but then you started really shitting the bed. So, well, you were good while you lasted. Fell into the Moomin hole. Yeah, I've noticed a lot more Moomin around on my Twitter dashboard as well. It seems to be rising in popularity again. As a real cute one. One of the older ones, yeah. When you inevitably fall in, you're starting with the books. Yeah, I'm sure I will eventually be swallowed by that hole as well. Although I also thought that about Hunter x Hunter, and I just never did that. I don't easily get invested in new media pieces. But when I do, I fall hard. You know what I mean? You went with whatever you could find on YouTube. Yeah, Moomin is wholesome. I've been seeing a lot of really cute clips from that on my Twitter dashboard. Or newsfeed? You know what? They all mean the same damn fucking thing. Whatever. Okay. What is happening here? I just fixed my microphone. I think I did something. There we go. I set it a little too far back. Okay, now we're good. Alright, so you fell into Hunter through Sam Keeper's live blogs. Ah. Interesting, yeah. That's there was a period of time where there was so much Hunter x Hunter on my Twitter dashboard, and more specifically Kilugon shipping going on, that I literally I muted I blacklisted the word Kilugon because it was just like half of my dashboard, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. Yeah. And Rose Garden, Optimus' Duelist's Discord server. Those are the two places I've heard the most about Hunter x Hunter. I have not unmuted it. It would probably be okay to do that now, because I think that the tidal wave has come through, and it's done for now. But yeah, it was seriously flooding my dashboard, and I had no clue what was going on. I was like, I can't, like, half of my dashboard is things that I don't understand. And the Chimera Ant arc. Yeah, if I ever do get into Hunter x Hunter, I'll take a look at some of her articles about it, for sure. In the meantime, I must say, my priority for anime, if I ever get into another series that's not currently being serialized, is Utena, because that's apparently mandatory watching for the Rose Garden, and it's definitely intrigued me as well. But yeah, no, Revolutionary Girl Utena is at the top of my list. If I ever... See, here's the thing. I'm probably not going to watch that for another, like, year or two. Just because that's how life be sometimes. But yeah, that's up there. That's what I should have watched instead of rewatching Ouran High School Host Club for the 30th fucking time when I did that. Like, damn, I guess that would be about a month ago now that I did that. That's a big paragraph. Okay, one second. Let me just read all of this. Yeah, that definitely sounds really interesting. I definitely, okay, you have convinced me. I will actually put Hunter x Hunter on my list of things to check out, because there was I'm not gonna lie, when it was tidal waving, when it was, this massive wave over my Twitter dashboard, I was just a grumpy little asshole about it, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch this, blah, 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 blah. But like, it looks very interesting. And yeah, that'll definitely go on the list then of things for me to eventually get around to. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Okay. So, anime conversations have been had. Let's see what the fuck is happening here. I am not looking forward to this chapter. Like, cause like I know what happens, and I'm just kind of like, Rose, no, Dirk, fuck you. Yeah. Post it into the Rose Garden and read the whole conversation. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll look that up. Oh, whoops, sorry, I just knocked my phone out of place. Look that up a little later. Let me just, oh, the fuck, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get all this shit arranged on my desk. Okay, I think, what the fuck did I just do? Okay, the shit has been arranged on my desk. I'm just like, phone companies are really cheaping out on the fucking charger cords, okay? The charger cord from my old phone is like almost an entire extra foot longer than the one that came with this new phone. So I'm really struggling to have it plugged in charging and like also sitting on my desk in a spot that it's easy for me to read the screen and not like way off to the side. Anyway, I think I got it. So, 25. Customarily, we speak in favorable terms about getting to know each other as people. Humans, I mean. I doubt trolls are as fixated on this concept as one that is widely understood to have preconceived merit. The more we learn about each other, the more the barriers between us fall and the closer we become. And since birth, this idea is stationed in the part of each human mind that is perfectly immune to the dangers of challenge or scrutiny. To grow closer, to know each other, is what it means to embrace our mutual humanity, what it means to be vulnerable, what it means to realize an intimacy implied as a form of divine birthright. And to question this in any way is to succumb to dysfunction, to pathological insularity, to sociological sin. It is to renounce humanity itself, is it not? Fuck iPhones. If your data wasn't saved to Apple Cloud, you'd switch to Android in a heartbeat. Yeah. My new phone is Motorola. It is Android as well. But yeah. Also, fuck iPhones. I'm very much on that train. Never owned an Apple product in my life. Never plan on ever owning one. Ever. Relentlessly cannibal asshole. I mean, that is a combination of words. You're on Android too? Yeah. I mean, like, the phone company monopolies are garbage and bad, and I don't like them. But Android is highly preferable, in my opinion. Alright, so Rose is waxing philosophical here about the meaning of humanity and what it means to be human. Yo, hold on a sec. This shit is dynamite, I promise. Gotta take care of something. Rose's phone is ringing, and I know I'm in for an encore of my last dead-end conversation with Kanaya, so I block her number. Ah! I'd like to be able to attend to Rose in peace. It's only cordial for me to give the greater percentage of my attention to someone I actually invited over. The nagging wife can hold her horses, and you can hold your own face in underwater. No breathing for you. My brain was just like scrambling to think of something better than that, but it just didn't happen. Rose isn't speaking to me directly. She's been relocated to somewhere in the workshop a little more comfortable than the fucking floor. There's a serviceable couch along the far wall, placed there for visitors, but never once used for that purpose until now. I cleared off the spare parts and circuit boards that were piled up there and laid her down in the reclined position she's in now. Her head is in her hands again, hair falling over her shoulders. Her face is entirely hidden from me. Her shadow has faded to light behind her, assuming the shape of a rose-like apparition. I nod to her, and she continues. When she speaks, it's almost as if it's the apparition that's doing the talking. Yeah, he can hold his shit and eat it. Oh dear God, is how you make all your equally jackass friends respond when you start getting philosophical. I lost my spot. I found it. It was right at the top. But is it really a good idea to know a person? Know them inside out so thoroughly that no secrets remain? If two people were to know each other in such a complete way, what remains of their individuality? If you're going there, we might as well... Oh, that's where you got that from. Yeah. If you're going there, we might as well start at the bottom and define what an individual even is. Oh, dear God. I mean, like, to wax philosophical back in Rose's direction, I mean, that is kind of an important thing to keep in mind with relationships that were, so that no secrets remain, absolutely 100% of every single thing about a person. It's difficult to obtain that kind of status, and it's frankly completely impossible. And yeah, I'm catching her drift. I'm liking where she's going with that. I'm kind of agreeing with that. If there were to be really, truly no secrets at all between two people. Although I don't think in terms of individuality, because they would still be... running with that idea. They would still be on a second-to-second basis, separately functioning autonomous units. You know what I mean? You're about to say that, but worse. I placed my hand on my chin and broadcast the appearance of being deeply pensive about philosophy all of a sudden. She gulps hard, broadcasting her grim realization that I have indeed become serious as shit about this. Literally any kind of intellectual problem could pour out of my mouth any second, and she is not prepared. For all she knows, I'm about to start quoting Kierkegaard. Please don't start quoting Kierkegaard. You've never even read Kierkegaard, have you? Like you have? Hey, where I'm from, Wikipedia is a venerated literary resource. So if I told you I boned the hell up on his pages, you gotta believe me. That's not meant as like a punchline or anything. I'm a really, really well-read dude. But there were only two human beings alive where you came from. Who exactly were the academic words speaking. Okay. Who exactly were the academic cognoscenti of your era to determine which sources were deemed respectable? That would be me, obviously. Okay. I suppose you're gonna tell me you haven't read enough Wikipedia articles on loads of scholarly shit to fancy yourself an elite academic by 25th century standards as well? No, I guess I have. I'd be one of the top intellectuals by that measure. A measure set by, I guess, literally one solitary self-absorbed teen boy for the express purpose of making himself feel clever. Absolutely correct. Pretty astounding when you think about it. What? That apparently in any given era, the standard for depth of intellectual mastery is inversely proportional to the depth of the ocean. Really makes you think. Does it? No. It's one hell of an observation regardless. Considering we've firmly established the fact that we've both read the entire Wikipedia page on self-determinism, like possibly more than once even, let's have a totally amateur debate on philosophy. Hit me with the classics. I'll go first. God is dead. That's a good one. Careful way you say that. You could really ruffle some feathers out there. I'm not a fucking idiot. I keep my potent rhetorical weapons of pure logic safely holstered at all times. You go. I think, therefore I am. Solid. Check it out, though. The Hegelian dialectic on history. Holy shit. I'm not sure I can keep up with this. How about subjectivity is truth? Wrong, but valid. Try this on for fucking size. Late 19th century existential phenomenology? Yeah, I'm reading an extra set of letters in there. That does not exist. Late 19th century phenomenology presupposes that free will is a thing. I don't think I bookmarked that page. Can't back you up there. But what if there's no free will? You didn't put that in quotes. Is that a hackneyed reference, or are you just actually riffing now? I'm riffing. I see. Asking the hard questions. It's about time someone had the balls to. Yeah, I've always been underappreciated for my brutal intellectual honesty, even when I was living alone in the middle of the ocean, if you can believe it. I think free will is a thing, sure. Are you sure about that? Haven't we spent the entire day having a feelings jam on how none of us got here by accident? How our lives were meticulously planned from cloneception up through this very post-canon moment we find ourselves riffing in about the very free will we probably don't even have. Don't you think it's all a little too convenient? This seriously is just a conversation between two stoned people now. The bad kind, where neither one even gets to be high. Seriously, Rose, do you think that you have free will? Stand up. She tries to stand up, but I haven't narratively allowed it yet. Her hands don't even move. She tenses, then relaxes into the couch again, giving up on the attempt. She attributes it to exhaustion, an all-encompassing sense of weakness due to her condition. Of course, she has been weakened by her condition, and thus she suspects nothing. Dirk, you sneaky fucking bastard! Never mind. You shouldn't be moving around much in your condition, remember? I'll sit. I sit beside her and cross my legs casually. It's all done in one fluid motion, in a way that serves as a seamless transition between the points I'm making, like a magician asking the volunteer to hold his handkerchief as he continues his verbal misdirection uninterrupted. It's done deftly enough that she doesn't notice how close I end up sitting to her. To be honest, I don't even notice myself until I've done it. I continue speaking, and she remains rapt, but now I can't even help but wonder where I'm going with this. Logically speaking, individuality is a collection of processes and properties, interrelations of matter and experience all bundled together. Your experience and processes don't want to be bundled together anymore. A moment goes by, and she's quiet, perhaps puzzling over what I said. Then I remember I hadn't narratively permitted a response. I'm forgetting myself like a fool, distracted by the surprise my own actions have caused me. I resolve to stay focused, remain in control. I let her speak. This is the best worst conversation in all of Homestuckdom. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely up there as, like, there's a lot of big yikes happening in this chapter. And I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't understand. You do, though. We've been talking about it, but using different concepts. Your ultimate self, that which is revealed when the mind's partitions are stripped away, and all your ultimate self, that which is revealed when the mind's partitions are stripped away, and all potentiality of who you are and who you could have been flow together. You are the experiences and processes that are refusing to stay bundled. That's what your body can't endure. The unbundling itself is your mind coming apart. Because you're not as strong as me. Not yet. But you can be. I'm working on it. But for now, I'm focusing on stabilizing you with my own expanding consciousness. It's enveloping you now in a way you can't see. Keeping your thoughts solid, your identity anchored to your physical form as it strains to hold itself together. You can't see it, what I'm talking about. But I can help you. I can help you see what I see, if only for a little while. All you have to do is open your eyes. Maybe what you see will help you through this. Is that what you like? Rose? There was something I was going to comment on, but I continued reading. Yeah, again, this understanding, this description of the ultimate self is very different from what Dave Petta describes. He's Dirk. He's describing it as, you know, the unbundling of everything melding together, whereas Dave Petta described it more as not everything melting together, but just in understanding and a knowledge of all those possibilities. Her eyes are shut, her look of concentration speaking to the migraine she must be fighting now. Small beads of sweat appear on her forehead. She won't respond, and not because I haven't allowed it. Rose, stop being a fucking martyr and open your eyes. Rose opens her eyes, not her physical eyes. She opens the others easily, internally, beholding a field of perception elsewhere entirely. They see what I want her to see, that which quietly desires to be seen. She loses track of my voice, which begins to mingle with these words. I offer her my hand, my physical hand. Without opening her physical eyes, she lifts her hand from her lap and places it in mine. I put my other hand on top of hers and wait as she drifts beyond the torments of her unbundling mind. My words feel like her own intimate thoughts and my distant voice in the room at the same time. Open your eyes wider. What do you see? Dirk wrote Dave Petta out because they're the best person equipped to give him a reality check. Hell yeah. Dave Petta is the best person equipped to give Dirk a reality check. I hadn't thought of it that way, but that's super true. We're not in my workshop anymore. Physically, yes, we're still here, but on a higher textual plane, we've pulled back from that, from Earth Sea itself. Rose takes a shuddering breath and runs an invisible pair of hands afforded by her new sight over the narrative whole cloth, and begins smoothing out the wrinkles. I see. John. Doing exactly what you told him to, like a good boy. What's there to be upset about? You knew this was how it was supposed to go down. He could have made another choice. Then where would we be? Who knows? No, that wasn't a rhetorical question. If John could have made another choice, then you can see what it is. If it can happen, then it's been written. And if it's been written, you can read it right now. I don't know if I want to see. If there's no free will, then there's no regret either. Look harder. She looks harder. I'm not going to describe what she sees. First of all, that would be spoiling it, unless you already know, in which case I guess what's taking place here qualifies as something closer to dramatic irony. But if you really want to see it for yourself, stop what you're doing, flip the whole thing over, and begin again. I'll be right here when you get back, waiting. Trust me, no one's going anywhere. There were actually a number of people who did go read Candy when Dirk said this. But I was not one of them, and that's not what we're going to be doing with these streams. So, what do you think? It's difficult to say. I suppose there are negatives and positives. I can't say if that option would be any better or worse than what we're experiencing now. Whichever way our fate unravels, there's too much of something. Too much blood, too much sugar. I almost can't see through it. It's as if our extra-canon reality, our surroundings, our actions, and their consequences, they've all lost the ability to blend the ingredients responsibly. Do you know what I mean? Yes. As if the moment we entered the victory state, everything began to slowly congeal, and when John made his decision, it accelerated the process. The congealing intensified, causing a sort of grotesque conceptual clumping, concentrating the constituent properties of consumption into unbearable doses, like when you get to the bottom of a sweet drink and all that's left is syrup. Why not? Wait, you're referring to why not switch over at this point? I mean, I just feel like the two stories are best when read completely cohesively. I feel like, yeah, it almost makes Candy seem like a sub-story, the kind of sub-story, if you kind of wrap it in between the two meats, like a candy sandwich with meat bread. It's just, that was very silly. But yeah, a lot of Candy felt really off. And yeah, we'll definitely go a little bit more in depth into just the ways in which it felt off and kind of why that is once we get into the thick of it with Candy. But, So, yeah, Rose is bringing up an interesting kind of description of how she is seeing the way they are, how it's, not mixing ingredients responsibly. It's growing dark around her again. The apparition she's been projecting behind her fades, and she starts to bleed light and shadow in all directions. Her physical eyes are open now and shining bright. It's a striking sight. She's beautiful, actually. Diaphanous and disheveled and filled with the limitless light of meta-spiritual curiosity. But for all the effervescent mysticism of her otherworldly becoming, I feel like this is the very first time I'm truly seeing her for what she's always been to me. She's my daughter in every sense of the word, my equal, my mirror. It used to be odd to consider it, a technical fact I'd accepted as a genetic reality, but nothing that could ever quite penetrate down to the soul. But in this moment, it doesn't feel strange at all. It feels right suddenly, and I know she must feel the same way. There's no way she doesn't. All she needs is a nudge in the right direction. We're family. We belong together. And after years of micromanaging the inconsistent and confused desires of total imbeciles, wouldn't it be a relief to have someone by my side who understood me? I'm trying to find the right words to pinpoint why that feels like such a big yikes. I'm gonna have some water for a second. I guess it's like the way he's speaking of her as like, we're family, we belong together, and like that kind of thing. Like, I guess it's just any sort of statement made that implies that two people or two or more people just belong together or have to stick together for some outside factor other than like their own choice and wanting to be in that situation, kind of is like like just because there's a genetic relation, it doesn't mean that they have to belong together and need to, like they can choose to embrace those roles or not. But, just the way that he's, and like this is like also a big yikes, this whole statement here. You're almost there. All your eyes are open, Rose. Now all you need to do is take a step off the precipice. It'll be a long fall, but I'll catch you. But what if the person you catch isn't me anymore? Who gives a fuck? She'll be better. And there, right there, is the moment she lets go. She uncouples herself from the creaking, buckling partitions of her physical mind, and her consciousness dissolves into a space more vast, a domain given structure and order by my words and conviction. She's permitted the barriers between us to fall, to allow us to know each other more perfectly. As she was saying before, to resist this, to question it in any way, would be to succumb to dysfunction, to pathological insularity, to sociological sin. Would it not be to renounce humanity itself? And yet, ironically, renouncing our humanity is exactly what we have arguably just done. Good riddance, I say. Her body should be dead now, but I'm holding it together until I can implement the more permanent solution I have in mind. All in due time. For now, what is there to do but savor this moment? To appreciate her final waking minutes as a being of flesh and blood. She turns, and the light from behind her is blinding. And the light from her eyes is blinding. It dims a bit as she lowers her eyelids. She regards me with an almost unbearably bright adoration. The kind that's difficult to look at directly, but you can't manage to look away either. It's like the first time you see the green sun. Of course it is, because that's the way I'm describing it. The truth belongs to me, and as of now, so does she. Ah! And Neither of these things are true. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck off. Go fuck yourself. Fuck you. You fucking fuck. This makes me very upset. I see it now. You're right. Have I ever not been? Many occasions, you piece of shit. You... A wrinkle in her brow. It smooths out quickly. She murmurs to herself, trailing off quietly. What time is it? I step forward and steady her, hand firm but gentle against her cheek. That's all she needs. A stable anchor. Rose, does time even exist? You already know the answer. The answer is my unending screeching at Dirk for being a fucking piece of shit. What time is it? Okay, 11:37. Let's read this one. Not quite break time yet. 26. Jade kicks her shoeless feet behind her slowly, as if she's swimming with the current of the gravitational waves pulling her ever closer to their source. Her feet aren't completely bare. They're still covered by her gray-striped witch stockings, but the ruby slippers are gone. She kicked them off hours ago, as if to jettison all hope of returning anywhere resembling a place she used to call home. The fond remembrance of such a place no longer has any pull on her. Now something else entirely is pulling her. Believe me, I'm sympathetic to the temptation. It's always just there, isn't it? A limitless reservoir of emptiness, perfectly available to you, patient, omnipresent, and dead ahead. As someone who grew up in the middle of an ocean, completely alone, on a planet purged of all human life 400 years before I was born, I understand the feeling well. But something isn't right here. She should really reconsider whatever it is she may be about to do. Yeah, because it would be antithetical to your purposes, ya fucker. There's something about being alone for so long. It makes time feel like it doesn't exist. She knows this. She knows this almost better than I do. Jade also knows well enough by now that time doesn't actually exist in a literal sense, the way we generally understand it. It's just one aspect of many, and the complement of her own space. It therefore can be neutralized by the introduction of her essence, reduced to white noise or soft light. The continuum of time is therefore demonstrably an illusion. The field of sequential moments and physical conditions that stretch on and on, resulting in the mirage of loneliness, is pure projection from disproportionate attention given to a single side of one cosmic, polar pair of ideas. Time. It's my way of saying, and thereby alerting her mind to what she already knows, that this feeling of all-consuming solitude and despair haunting her since childhood, it's in her head. The ticking of time is a little contrivance in her mind, as a byproduct of imbalance, of the vast disparity between her limited self and her ultimate self. It lives rent-free there. It lives rent-free there the way Dave once did, and for this version of Jade, probably still does. He made fun of her sometimes when they were kids because she couldn't always keep real and fake things straight, but he never meant it seriously. It was just the way he showed that he cared, which is one of the things Jade always liked so much about him. That he's so clumsy and genuine underneath it all. Maybe Dave broke her heart a little, and keeps doing it too, no matter how many different timelines they try out. She slips closer to the event horizon, still making no effort to impede her descent. My persuasion skills are admittedly a little rusty. Bear with me here. In my experience, there's something about being alone that can take a person's limited meat engine and make it imagine that it can see beyond the confines of its own electrical processes. Make it believe that it is ascending to a place where it can see the four dimensions spread out beneath it like a set of windows, like sheet music. Like a garden, where Jade used to spend so much of her time with her hands in the earth and her head in the clouds, dreaming about flowers that bloomed in 6 colors and grew when she played them a song. Was that real? It's hard to tell, but it made her happy, didn't it? Isn't that what she needs now? Isn't it reasonable to presume that the only thing capable of persuading her to slow her descent, to being invited to imagine, fake or otherwise, that which once made her happy? That which could still make her happy if only she slowed down, think about it, and do whatever is necessary to place herself in those surroundings again? It's possible that manning the other end of a suicide hotline transmitted through pure thought in a metatextual format may not actually be my true calling. I'm doing my goddamn best here. She just isn't slowing down for some incomprehensible reason. Perhaps my touch is too soft. It wouldn't be the first time. Perhaps the limits of persuasion itself are being tested by the most powerful gravitational force to ever exist. Or perhaps it's true that insistence is just the more effective half of persuasion. So I'm insisting it now. Jade Harley will not go into that black hole. She does not want us all to see what happens when she unsettles the spirit residing there. Callie! Okay. While Callie has limited lines, I will read them in my Callie voice. But once Callie takes over the narrative, I will switch to regular narrative voice. Or, we'll see. I'll try a couple different ways of doing this. She does, though. Fucking yikes. Jake throws on the brakes. I say she does. But by now, the gravity is overwhelming. Is she even trying to resist, or is it just that useless to try? I'm not sure I can tell. Jade realizes, preferably before it's too late, that this is fucking serious. She needs to turn this around. She doesn't want this. She doesn't want to die. She wants to return to me. Alright, I'm done messing around. Your name is Jade Harley. You decide right now that you do not want to die. You resist the pull of the black hole with all your might. What would killing yourself accomplish? Sure, most of your friends are dead, but John is still looking for you. Do you want to let him down? Do you want to crush his soul? Do you have any appreciation for what he's going through, Jade? He can take you home. To your new home, Earthsea. The home I made for you, Jade. Pompous motherfucker, it was a group effort. Shut the fuck up. Your friends are all there, alive and well. Rose, Dave, Carcat, slutty adult Jane. Shut the fuck up with your fucking slut-shaming bullshit, Dirk. Jade's that... Kelly, you're so oppressive, people. Jesus. Jake, Roxy, me. You wouldn't want to disappoint them. You wouldn't want to disappoint me, would you, Jade? You can avoid all of this, the unpredictable consequences about to be unleashed by your thoughtless act. You can still turn this around. It's not too late. But it is too late. Christ. You're close now to the ceiling of the cancerous deformity. Too close. Just skimming the edge of this thing's vicious horizon. You dip your toes through the place where the singularity is snapping everything apart at the seams. It's so loud that it's completely silent. You can already feel yourself stretched thin, distorted, pulled out with your descent elongated for all eternity. When you look down, the stripes of your witchy tights go on and on for miles. Please, Jade, don't ever say I didn't try to stop this. She closes her eyes and lets go. Callie! Okay, I'm gonna have a little water before we start the next chapter.
27. And then she opens her eyes. Not the Jade who just returned to me. The Jade living on Earthsea, sleeping on a couch.
So, this is what we're doing now?
She snaps awake. Her human hands are clammy. Her face, expressive due to the layers of flesh enveloping her skeleton, appears haunted to her friends.
OMG, Jade! Jade, you okay? Callie, hurry, she's waking up.
John? Rose? Is Dave... What happened to...
Yo, it's okay. Dave's cool. Rose is cool. Everyone's just straight chilling like usual. I see how it is. You don't even intend to acknowledge me. Real fucking mature. If you're going to force the issue of this little meta-narrative tug-of-war between us, the least you could do is establish a clear adversarial dichotomy between our opposing goals.
Jade stares straight ahead, feeling the weight of Roxy's arms around her shoulders. She derives no warmth from the interaction. Her mind is being flooded by the memories of her deceased splinter self. The chaos of battle, the excruciating impalement, the feeling of floating alone through the void. A chill spreads through her body. She will never be the same again.
Actually, you know what? I think that Jade's doing just fine. She's wobbly when she gets up off the couch, sure, like a little metaphysically stunned, but pretty used to the sensation of having a doomed self fold into the extra space in her gray matter. You know, considering it's already happened before. Remember Jade Sprite? People always forget about Jade Sprite. So maybe we could stand to dial down the melodrama just a bit?
When Jade turns to look at Roxy, her eyes are completely black.
Whoa. What the actual... Are you in there, Jade?
Jade does not answer. The dead shrub scans her surroundings, expression neutral. For the sake of clarity, the dead shrub is a phrase I am using in reference to myself. Presently, I inhabit Jade's body, and through her I may influence the world. And through her I may influence this world. I am enabled to convey events which take place here, and therefore confine the procession of causality to exist within a secure textual framework. My presence shall mitigate, if not altogether subdue, the corrosive effect on reality and the will of its occupants by those who would manipulate the way events are telegraphed for their own megalomaniacal objectives.
Okay, now you're just being passive-aggressive.
Despite his pretensions to a greater design, the Prince of Heart cannot be allowed to continue to exert unchecked control over the authoritative. Despite his pretensions to a greater design, the Prince of Heart cannot be allowed to exert unchecked control over the authoritative recitation of events on this side of my horizon. It cannot be overstated the extent to which he represents a threat to the continued existence of both this world and corporeal life itself.
Damn, you better watch it with those hot takes. You might mildly scald someone with observations this fresh.
The prince uselessly squirms and wails in protest at his imminent narrative impotence. However, there is nothing he can do as long as Jade remains in this trance.
Nah, I'm being chill as a cucumber about this, considering you're vague blogging the shit out of my methodological approach to storytelling right where I can see it. Which is to say, directly into my fucking brain, apparently.
Calliope emerges from the kitchen, carrying a bowl of cool water in a cloth. Jade turns her head to meet the sound of their footsteps. I came back as fast as I could. The bowl of water clatters to the floor. Calliope does not have human flesh and thus cannot go pale. What drains from them is not color, but the comforting certainty of their very existence. They can sense the presence of their other self in Jade's body. Their timeline fruitful, full of life and friends, sparks against mine. Desolate, endless, Spartan with righteousness and resolve. Our divergent arcs collide in the primacy of their subconscious, bringing to the forefront of their mind the bleak fate they avoided by narrative fiat alone. Calliope's distress is obvious. Roxy slides off the couch to approach them, but Calliope stumbles back in terror and trips in their desperation to escape. Roxy gapes at them.
Hey, Callie, what's going on? Calliope, it's okay, just talk to me.
Calliope does not talk to them. Roxy looks to Calliope, then to Jade, sensing that there is a dark energy coursing between them.
Would one of you just effing say something already?
Finally, Calliope lets out a shriek and flees the apartment. Roxy appears as if they intend to run after them, but find themselves drawn back to Jade. They return to the couch as an unnerved look begins to disturb their features. Jade says nothing. She gives no indication that I inhabit her body, aside from the unusual appearance of her eyes. Anchoring myself here in this host is enough to serve my purpose. There is no need to operate this body beyond keeping it in reserve as a silent yet alert vessel for my cognizance. There are other priorities I must attend to, cosmologically. The work is very important. The prince must be kept at bay.
The work? Getting pretty self-important vibes here. Like maybe somebody needs to get over herself? I was just having a little fun. Ever fucking hear that, dead skull girl? Didn't think so. This all feels really heavy-handed suddenly. Like you're making a federal fucking issue out of what should be some light entertaining stuff. Just a bunch of loser adults trying to be the people they grew up to be in the best ways they know. But no, I guess you know what's best. Being an impossibly ancient alien recluse with virtually no exposure to human culture, emotion, or values. Yeah, go ahead. Just take over. Sounds fine.
Just having a little fun.
Sounds... Oh, God. Like, that sounds just like all the people who fucking say that they're, like, just trolling when they're spreading fucking racist rhetoric. And they're like, it's just a joke. Or just a, I'm just kidding. Buddy, everyone involved knows that's not fucking true.
The prince finds that his hold on the narrative is slipping through his hands. There is an old myth in Earth culture about katanas that if you keep the blade wetted to a mirror sheen, it can cut a silk scarf falling through the air cleanly in two. His hold over our perceptions shall be severed just as elegantly.
I'm trying to figure out how to make his voice quieter, because I've already been, like, leaning way the fuck back from the microphone. I guess I'll just kind of, like, use my hand a bit. Yo, I get that you're attempting to spin a metaphor both relevant and specific to my self-made symbology here, and I appreciate the effort, I really do. But I just cannot stand by and let you shamelessly spread such irresponsible misinformation on a subject so near and dear to my heart. The katana is a cutting weapon. Inert, it's harmless. Deceptively so, you might even say. The most dangerous things appear banal and inert. That's just basic physics. It's actually the motion of the katana that makes...
Roxy sets the cool cloth on Jade's forehead and frowns. They are worried and confused, but determined to care for their friend.
Hey, I'm in the middle of turning your apocryphal metaphor into something with substantive allegorical weight here. I'd appreciate if you would...
In his haste to manipulate the events surrounding doomed Jade's ascent towards an outcome favorable to himself, the prince has unwittingly revealed several glaring weaknesses. By dictating the reality of others through expression which he alone can relate to, he resorts to comparing all experiences to his own. Presuming his status on this side of my horizon would forever go unchallenged, his hubris went unchecked. He exposed too much of himself to all who could observe his wanton display of self-gratification. Many of his personal biases and experiences had leaked through the seams of textual causality, leaving them vulnerable to exploitation by an adversary. Experience such as the sensation of presiding over a vast, empty ocean, his ocean, which terminates with his horizon. It is a barrier, not real but psychological, symbolic. No matter how much power he achieves as a man, he knows there are horizons he perceived as a boy which he may never cross. And yet I have crossed mine, with the express purpose of perpetually and eternally reminding him of his limits, and of enforcing them. Limits which, like his vast empty ocean, serve to remind him that he is phenomenologically, if not literally, alone. that he has experienced loneliness intimately and absolutely, just like I have. But unlike me, he is terrified by it. And I, unlike him, understand all too well that children left alone are those who most despair at being ignored.
Sorry, I just saw his fucking response. Fuck you. I fucking hate you. You're fucking boring. Your narrative voice is a total fucking drag, and someday I'm gonna make you pay for this.
There. Can you hear it? Of course you can't. But even if you could, it would sound like nothing at all.
Callie hitting that nail on the head. Oh, children left alone are those who most despair at being ignored, and he's immediately like, fuck you. Like, fuck you for reading me so well. I fucking hate you. He's pulling out all the stops on this tantrum now that he's not getting his way. Okay, this one is a bit of a longer one, so we're going to take a 5-minute break a little early today. Not that much early. It's only 3 minutes too. But get the get that advertisement out of here. Yeah. So we'll take 5 a little early and then come back to chapter. Oh shit, what fucking chapter was that? 28. Chapter 28. Back in 5. Hello. It has been 5 minutes, and it is time to return to chapter 28 with John and Terzi. As much as like I do agree with the people who are kind of like feel like Terzi was kind of relegated to the role of love interest again in the epilogues, kind of in relation to John specifically, in a way that is similar to the role that she used to play for David Carcat. That is a line of thought that I've heard, and I do see that. Like, I do see what they're getting at with that. A lot of how we see Terzi is through the eyes of John. You know, we don't really get into her head or her perspective on things really at all outside of the things that she outright states. So there's still a lot of like reading into it that needs to be done to really try and understand where Terzi is coming from in all of this. Oh, and there's another one of those titles. Epilogue 5. Still don't know what those titles mean. 28. How long have you been watching? Long enough to smell you flailing around like a wiggler while talking to Jade's shoes. Oh, awkward.
She stares at John for some time, a curious expression on her face. She says nothing for long enough that John begins to wonder if she has any use for him at all. Will she offer one last barbed jest before vanishing from his life again, for good this time? He hopes that he means more to her than that, especially after all the trying experiences they've shared. And he does mean more to her than that. Her hesitation isn't meant to make him feel unwelcome. She is simply processing what she is seeing. Something is off about him.
Jean, do not take this personally, although I do absolutely mean it personally. But you smell like shit.
It isn't his unseemly appearance she finds surprising. He is gravely wounded, but it is not that either. Something else is different about him. Different somehow from how she thought he'd be when she imagined they'd next meet. Under all the gore, he smells too fresh. She decides to keep her observations to herself, lest she cause this ailing version of Jean more confusion.
Too fresh. Right, because this is the... this Terzi is the same Terzi that John from the Candy timeline has been communicating with this whole time. So she was expecting John to be like in his late 30s or whatever. But that ain't it. Yeah, well, you smell like shit too. Nice, John. I assume that you are correct, being that I've been out here for a certain amount of time with limited access to food and water. But I think that your situation is a bit more serious than mine, as you seem to be bleeding to death from a tooth in your chest.
John laughs, exposing his 2 rows of disarmingly dull human teeth, signature characteristics of his smile.
Oh, this? It's only a flesh wound, haha. Oh my god, and then they go into the whole Monty Python callback. Yes, John, generally wounds tend to happen to the flesh. No, see, it's a movie reference. There's this knight, and he keeps losing the fight that he's in, but he refuses to give up. So when they cut off his arms and legs and stuff, he keeps acting like it's no big deal. And to remain defiant, he keeps saying stuff like, "It's only a flesh wound." Is that the title of the movie? No, the movie is called Monty Python. It actually kind of sucks. Movies from the 90s are so much better. I don't even know why I'm quoting this crap. I must really be in bad shape here.
Teresa tips her head to one side with what John personally regards as a cute expression, one he believes is unique to her. Whether he's correct or not, it is the belief that there is no one else who emotes this. It is his belief that there is no one else who emotes in this manner. It is both quizzical and mocking, 2 descriptors that he considers to be an apt summation of her personality as well.
Kind of like the very, like a physical manifestation of her, like, little colon question mark face.
John pauses, reflecting on the word cute as it passes through his mind. He wonders if this really is what he thinks of Terzi, without influence, without delirium, without mistaking one emotion for another. But it is what he thinks of her, quite truthfully. I have no desire to inject thoughts into others' minds, or to sway intent, nor do I see the value in masking the reality of the emotions that I transcribe. This is how he feels. His mind, however, has made a habit of being less clear about his thoughts than I am willing to be. John would be mortified with human embarrassment if he could understand the clarity and precision with which I am willing to telegraph his thoughts. But his embarrassment is irrelevant to me. As always, the truth is paramount. John thinks Terzi is very cute. He always has. He thinks she's small for how big she talks, and has a nose that resembles a button. These qualities he regards as particularly adorable due to their sharp contrast with her harsh and incisive demeanor. John recalls the concept of gap-moe, a term which the prince, speaking from his highly self-aggrandized position as a scholar of ancient Asian earth lore, once explained to mean as a charming measured discrepancy between one's archetypal appearance and idiosyncratic personal attributes. Terzi is definitely cute, John decides. The conclusion is now at the forefront of his mind.
This whole thing about gap moe, specifically pulling out the anime terms to mock Dirk. I don't fucking believe this.
But he still resists, doubts himself. Perhaps it's even weirder to frame it this way, he wonders. He feels he is in danger of seeming like the type of creepy human male who is likely to collect large pillows bearing the illustrated images of Japanese Earth females. To me, this idea means nothing, but it is causing him to sweat.
John!
He is worried that these are the thoughts entertained by a man of low character, by, perhaps, a scoundrel. His worries are interrupted as Terzi floats over and flicks him on the forehead.
Don't strain yourself thinking too hard there, John Egbert. Or Egbert, why did I insert his first name there? Don't strain yourself thinking too hard there, Egbert. Yeah, now that I think about it, that was a dumb metaphor. It's one of those Earth things that's probably impossible for an alien to understand. Maybe it's the blood loss. I'm probably making a fool of myself here. John, your Monkey Python John, your Monkey Python anecdote was vintage Egbertier Adora stupid. Don't worry about it. Besides, on Alternia, it would be considered weird for someone to stop a fight just for losing a limb. Really? Yeah, if someone in the military ran away just for that, they'd probably get culled. Wow. Alternia sucked. Yeah.
Suddenly, Terzi sways, feeling woozy. John reaches out to catch her shoulder and steadies her. Now closer, he examines her face in detail. Her complexion is chalky. Compared to humans, trolls have little color to lose. When they feel ill, there is a pallor to them, a dusty quality running deeper than the surface of the skin.
Whoa, are you okay? Of course not. John, I am in the process of starving to death. Didn't I just say I've been here for a long time? All right. I'm just worried about you, dumbass. You don't need to jump down my throat about every little thing. I'm sorry. Just how long have you been out here, Terzi? I have no idea. Time passes differently here, and not always in a straight line. Sometimes it feels like I've been here 100 sweeps, and I'm not even sure that's true. It's hard to stay anchored. Whew, that's pretty heavy. Yeah. Here, look. I found my dad's wallet floating out here, like fucking randomly. Can you believe that? Let's see if there's any food in it.
She hesitates, weighing her temptation to playfully antagonize John against the virtue of sincere expression. There are times she worries the latter may be more appropriate.
Thanks, Egbert. No problem. We're friends, Terzi. It's not like I'm going to let you die out here just because we bicker sometimes. You don't have to be so on guard. Actually, I'm glad to see you. I've been thinking about you a lot lately.
When John opens the wallet, the first thing he sees stored in the capacious modus is a spare car. His ever-prepared father must have capture-logged a second one as a backup. Perhaps, as John speculates, in case his primary vehicle got a flat tire.
He was about to say, I miss you. Aww. But in the backup car. You what, John? Hold that thought. Check this out.
John deploys the spare car. It looks brand new, like the day his father brought the other one back from the dealership. It strikes John as the first bit of good luck he's had all day. Terzi is less impressed.
Is this pathetically primitive four-wheel device edible, or am I misunderstanding something here? No, it's just that
John's vision is dark and blurry around the edges. He is reminded he is not in perfect physical condition either and could use a moment of rest. He climbs onto the trunk of the car, assuming a sitting position with his legs dangling in front of the bumper. He exhales and then turns to look at Terzi. He pats the place beside him, inviting her to sit. She looks skeptical but relentless, shimmying up next to him on the chrome. She shrugs out of the straps of her rocket pack. They sit silently for several minutes, shoulders 2 inches apart. The atmosphere is thin and chilly. Below their dangling feet, the black hole looms, watching them. Above, the sky seems to stretch on more infinitely than a typical infinite expanse, without being boxed in by the properties of space or time. John observes Terzi watching the sky. The light flickers meteoric over her sharp features. It casts pools of shadow beneath her eyes and in the dip of her neck. His innocent thoughts continue, with the cautious yet growing confidence of a skittish animal creeping out of the woods. It is confident only in its surety of being unobserved. Like this, he does not think she is cute at all. No, she is beautiful. This vision of her is haunting to him.
It really is a mess out here, isn't it? Yeah.
He opens the wallet again, both to search for something edible and to take his eyes away from her. Objects begin appearing around him as he leafs through the cards. A crumpled fedora, a silk tie, his father's backup cufflinks.
What are you doing out here anyway? What do you think I'm doing out here? I'm looking for Vriska, of course. Still? What do you mean, still? Well, It's been years. At least from my perspective it has. What have you seen since you started looking? There's just nothing out here. Not anymore. If you haven't found her yet, I hate to say it, but she's probably not here. I mean, she went to fight Lord English, right? I was just there, and I didn't see her. And I'm pretty sure everyone who was there is dead now. I wouldn't be surprised if we're the only two people left alive out here.
Terezi stares at him with her wide red eyes.
Years. Yes. Oh, a year is about half a... I know that fool. She did not live 3 human years on a meteor with 2 humans and not learn what a fucking year is. Oh. It's just sinking in how time has passed differently for us. Right. Time not in the literal sense of seconds passing by, but progress. You've changed so much, and all I've done is waste my entire lifespan walking in circles. Hey, let's not throw in the towel just yet. So do you think... Do I actually look that much different to you?
She leans in close to sniff him carefully.
You smell older, but not as old as I thought you'd be. What does that mean? Don't worry about it. Oh, what is that? Oh, what is that? Delighted. But this, you smell older but not as old as I thought you'd be. Because she's been talking to 30-something-year-old John from the Candy Timeline.
Terezi appears delighted. She quickly snatches something out of the open wallet. It is a can of human shaving cream. She clutches it with covetous desperation, her mouth watering.
Terezi, no! That's not food!
John is too late. She sprays the airy white foam directly into her mouth. She is slurping the earth product known as barbasol greedily, groaning in pleasure as it runs down her chin in viscid, frothy rivers. John's eyes bulge at the unappetizing spectacle. He watches with a strange mixture of disgust and fondness. He briefly wonders about the caloric value of foam. However, regardless of its nutritional merit, it does appear to have restored some of her vigor, so he decides not to interfere. He feels a twinge of pain in his chest and considers it may be on account of missing her so greatly. But no, it's just my brother's tooth, lodged deep in his chest, spreading its poison. It really should be extracted before it's too late. You feel better? Yes. That's good. But personally speaking, I feel like total shit. I think we should go back. Home, I mean. No. She grabs him by the shirt. Her voice begins to waver. He notices desperation in the dark circles under her eyes. Please, John, can we just stay a little longer? His mind knows he must say no. His sense of self-preservation insists on it, but he simply can't. He redoubles his effort to ignore the pain. He fights back tears. She can sense his great struggle, but says nothing. With a tilt of his head, he gestures towards the car.
Okay. We can stay a little longer. Why don't you rest in the back seat so you can save your energy? I'll drive. Not literally drive, but you know.
Terezi crawls in back, while John floats into the driver's seat. He summons a gust of wind to propel the car through the decaying medium, as he once did on the battlefield so long ago.
When he was driving with the mayor who's fucking dead! Ah!
Terezi closes her eyes the moment her head hits the seat. She snores heavily. John makes a concerted effort not to be too creepy about it, not to be creepy about it, by his own estimation of the word's meaning, yet he cannot stop looking at her in the rear-view mirror. He tells himself it's just to make sure she's still breathing. That it's just to make sure she's actually there.
Oof, my heart. Oh God, Jane! Ooh. I forget what happens in this one, but the ones with Jane make my heart ache. Because Jane, do better, come on.
$29. The elevator to Jane's office opens, and she stumbles inside. The last traces of trickster mode are bleeding off her aura. The great gift of this sacred boon has run its course for the evening, and though she is not as grateful as she should be, she nevertheless acknowledges the extraordinary benefit it has afforded her with a slight nod to the mirror. She pulls a hand through her hair, watching in the reflection as the last of the pink coloration fades to black.
So, for all of Calliope's, I'm not biased. I am the unbiased narrator. Though she's not as grateful as she should be. That's a little bit of bias in there, my friend.
She has been campaigning this way for some time now. In fact, it's been over a week since she was last seen in public without the aura bestowed to her by the divine lollipop juju. There are many benefits to trickster mode, in that it imbues one with an endless supply of enthusiasm and supernatural positivity. Additionally, it prevents one from dwelling on any given personal problems, or the greater implications of any political statements one might make. However, while a great portion of
skipping words here.
However, while a great portion of the electorate adores Jane's elevated sense of charisma and presence when she is in trickster mode, as they should, there are just as many detractors who claim that the whole thing is extremely problematic. I doubt this is true, but must also acknowledge it exceeds the scope of my expertise to comment on the subject.
Oh my goodness, it is not problematic!
Jane erupts, alone in the elevator, seemingly talking to herself. She appears to be responding to her own inner monologue, which I, admittedly, am presently conducting. She appears to agree with me on this matter. The juju has truly blessed her with great wisdom.
I have endured this argument for years, and I honestly cannot see a single thing about it that would be even thinly construed as problematic. Furthermore, despite the fact that I emphatically do not find it to be problematic, I have in the past politely refrained from indulging in the profane pleasures of the trickster lollipop out of respect for those who do find offense with it. However, the citizens of the human kingdom delight in my tricksy antics. And what kind of politician would I be were I to deny my core voting demographic that sort of red meat? Or candy, I suppose. To imply that I am superciliously and recklessly stoking potentially dangerous cultural fires is honestly an insult. I am guilty of only one crime, energizing my base. That's exactly what Trump says he's doing with all these fucking rallies, but he's just making racists be more racist.
She is saying it better than I could possibly say it myself. It is unusually gratifying to witness a human with such high regard for hallowed cultural artifacts and the unparalleled blessings they bestow upon lesser beings.
Callie! Come on. Wait, who am I talking to?
Jane rubs her eyes under her glasses and groans. Trickster mode is also quite exhausting. What a strange quirk of human biology that excess euphoria must necessarily be followed by debilitating despair.
This is a very specific. Don't do that. That's a slur against disabled folks. Okay, again, y'all. This was very clearly not proofread by anybody who had ableism at the forefront of their mind.
She carelessly tosses the lollipop on the floor, lurches towards her desk. No. She turns around promptly, her body jolted by the surprise of her sudden reversal. She bends over, cradles the lollipop reverentially, and situates it carefully in a place signifying respect. atop the mantel after clearing space for it by shoving several brittle, worthless objects to the floor.
So, all of Kelly's, I'm not going to control anything because I'm not that kind of... Like, she's definitely stepping way the fuck back from what Dirk was doing. But when it serves her in certain circumstances, not so unbiased.
Only then did she drag herself to her desk, her legs shaking as if she had just run a great distance. The moment she sits down, her phone begins to ring.
Yes? Yo, don't spend too much time in trickster mode. Is that all you have to say? In general, not by a long shot. But pertaining to this specific issue, yeah, because you should know better. At this rate, you're gonna you'll fucking typos. At this rate, you're gonna burn yourself out before even going to the ballots. Can you just trust me on this for once? I'm a bit too preoccupied at this exact moment to turn my chair backwards and rap at you about the dangers of dope. I know what I'm doing, Dirk. Do I need to remind you that all of this was initially my idea? The idea planted in your head by Dirk being a nasty little bastard. In that case, how about we tap into some of that outrageous political acumen of yours, dial back on the manic pixie dream candidate bullshit, and focus a little more on substantive policy speeches. Oh, come on, Dirk. Both you and I know that isn't how politics works. Yeah, you're right. I can't believe I actually said that with a straight face. That isn't how politics works. Oh, God. I mean, I wish that's how politics work. But, no, apparently we just... it's all about celebrity. You say everything with a straight face. Another fair point. See, Jane? This is why you're gonna clean his fucking clock in the debates. All I'm saying is, there are better ways to go about unscrupulously manipulating the electorate than burning through your entire lifetime supply of dopamine. Like perhaps gaining the ever-vaulted endorsement of one Jake English? Exactly. You know, the last time we spoke about this issue, I could have sworn you asked me to let you handle Jake. I guess I did say that. Dirk, are you doing quite okay? It's very unlike you to forget details like that. I'm fine, Jane.
The prince is not fine. He is not the type who takes well to having his plans upended, or his control of a shared vehicle fully suppressed. My brother wasn't much that type either.
Oh, fuck off. I'm nothing like that guy. Well, you know, she's got a point. Huh? What guy? Forget it. I was talking to someone else. Who? Is someone else there with you? No. It's nobody. Let's just drop it, okay?
Yet, unfortunately for everyone in the corporeal realm, the prince isn't the type to overlook the need for backup plans either. He devises contingencies for both success and failure. Wheels within wheels, as he likes to imagine. In his workshop, the prince machinates, while the seer both diminishes and ascends. He is being careful to make sure the precise nature of his activity is obscure. He closes his mind to all observation. He scatters many stray parts across his work table and busies himself with a variety of misleading mechanical tasks to hide the true intent of his schemes from me. But certain objects and actions strike me as more notable than others. That very long red rifle on the table, for instance, a weapon that does not belong to him and has not been used in a long time. He has been returning to the rifle between his other menial activities of probable misdirection. He dismantles it, reassembles it, slides off the receiver cover to examine the firing mechanism. The prince clearly believes he is a very clever boy. My brother did too.
She is absolutely reading all of his stuff. Although, the one thing she did not see through was his little trick where he turned the tranquilizer on Jade. When it said like red rifle, at first I was picturing like the portal rifle that Roxy is shown using in one of the flashes. And I was kind of like, what the fuck would he be doing with a portal rifle? But no, it is tranquilizers. Tranquilizers indeed. Christ. So, on the Jake issue, unfortunately, my influence is a little limited at the moment. What does that mean? A whole lot of bullshit that I don't have the time or patience to explain right now. All you need to know is that I'm working on a solution to both my problem and yours. Until then, you should figure out how to get Jake to, at the very least, avoid taking a side. Actually, I have been thinking, perhaps this attempt to get Jake on our side is the wrong angle from which to approach this vexing problem. Wouldn't it be much easier to discredit or blackmail him?
No, Jane, God, fucking shite.
He is much beloved in the Troll Kingdom for his carefully cultivated posterior, true, but we both know that his bottom is not the only intimate attribute for which he is famed among trollish citizens. It would take almost nothing to express his many dalliances through the human media. Oh boy. I know not to be judgmental, but his zipper is as loose as his pants are tight. That's not what I meant by who boy. You don't think it would work? Oh, it could work. A certain illusion of boyish innocence is an important part of his brand. You contrast that innocence with the gyrating of his sinewy thighs, beaming raw, sweaty sexuality right into the camera on live TV 5 nights a week. That's what makes Jake English work as a marketable commodity. The tension between the two, the inherent friction there. He's got to look as coy as all get out, like he has no idea how sexy he is. Like if you actually got him into bed, he'd completely disintegrate into a blushing mess of hesitation and sexless uncertainty. Wow. I've never heard anything more preposterous in my life. Yeah, well, his fans get off on it. So what's the problem? The part of your plan that involves exposing his promiscuity with trolls in order to hurt his chances with the human vote, and thereby framing interspecies sex as an inherently scandalous thing. I don't know, Jane. That sounds pretty fucking xenophobic. I mean, bingo. Also, just blackmail is bad. Just an aside, blackmail is just generally very bad. Ugh, not again. What isn't xenophobic? Well, for one, what you just said there, probably also xenophobic. What? I mean, yeah, there's some big yikes happening here. What? Sorry, that's just how it is. You either gotta roll with the woke shit, or decide to commit laborious, symbolic, melodramatic suicide in the process of utterly giving up. Yes, it is confusing, but that's why you're lucky to have me as your top advisor and strategist. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Just had to yawn. Okay, I'm actually just gonna take a second to stretch, because I've been doing a lot of sitting today. Okay. So let me just address. So what is he posturing here? Either roll with it or decide to commit suicide in the process of giving up. That's like, It's like roll with it or commit social suicide, I think is what he's saying. But neither of those options involve actually learning from the other side and learning from marginalized groups and like taking things to heart. It's just roll with that shit. You know, don't understand it, just perform it. Which, ugh.
The prince appears to have discarded the pretense of misdirection at his work table and is focused solely on the red rifle. He clicks the casing back into place. He sets the weapon on his shoulder so he can test the view through the scope. The setting sun bounces off the slick red metal and slices a bar of light across the wall behind him.
Dirk, do you want me to deal with Jake or not? You've offered nothing helpful yet, but you shot down all of my ideas. That's because lately, all of your ideas have been fucking terrible, Jane. Seriously, you've got to quit that trickster pop. It's rotting your brain.
Says the heathen, the cur, a true Philistine. Jane's head swivels sharply to look at the juju on the mantel. She admires it longingly, piously. She will never relinquish her priceless boon, no matter what reprehensible lies the prince whispers into her ear.
I mean, for once he's actually right here. Like, that shit probably is rotting her damn brain out. Like, then what do you want me to do? Play defense for a while. Like I said, I've got some cakes in the oven, so to speak. But we can't set them on the cooling plate just yet, so go make some fondant in the meantime.
Jane frowns. The baking metaphor felt like one contrived purely for her benefit, and therefore condescending, yet she hates how effective it was. She laments her own weakness for being so easily swayed by a well-delivered baking comparison. She lets the prince go and begins making her own plans. In his workshop, the prince lines up an imaginary shot. He pulls the trigger, listening to the pieces within slide and click together in a satisfying concert of metallic sounds, impeccably assembled, perfectly greased. The gun is not loaded, but the shot goes off without a hitch. What do you think you're up to, Prince?
Your ass is mine, Jake English.
He speaks under his breath inaudibly, perhaps frustrated, unaccustomed to scheming while others look over his shoulder. It's possible he is not as bold or as confident in his own designs as I'd believed.
I fucking said your ass is mine, Jake English. Don't like that. Okay. Yes. Jake with Karkat and Dave in the forest. I'm going to take a quick second to have some water before starting this chapter. Okay. Whew. Chaps, don't you love to take a rigorous jaunt in the wilds first thing in the morning, middle thing in the day, and last thing in the evening? No.
Karkat both looks and feels uncomfortable in his red and grey suit. He is tired from an afternoon of campaigning in the Consort Kingdom. Jake is jaunting rigorously, as he put it, up the ridge of the mountain but behind his mansion. Every now and then he pauses to accommodate the pace of his less limber friends.
By Jove, Karkat, that you are so winded by such little activity is truly alarming. We've been hiking for a fucking hour, dipshit. I can already feel my legs starting to lock up. I think they're getting a head start on the rigor mortis. Because you're fucking killing me is what I'm saying, by making me hike through nature in a fucking suit. Great work, everyone. You'll be offering up a pre-assassinated president to a frenzied electorate. Awesome strategy. Perhaps you need a better calisthenics. Okay. Perhaps you need a better calisthenics routine. I can suggest several alterations to your morning workout and even give you a lesson or two myself. My morning workout? I couldn't think of a more offensively presumptuous phrase if I tried. Also, what the fuck is a calisthenic? Is that the name of your fan shrub? I mean, like, it works.
Carquette's tirade is interrupted as he trips over a protruding tree root. Dave, who has been cheating on their hike by hovering very slightly off the ground rather than walking, catches Carquette before his face hits the dirt. He sets his companion upright and continues to guide him with his hand on his back as he walks, the way an older human does with a small child who is learning to ride a bike. Or learning to ride a bicycle.
Hey Jake, we're cool on the whole cardio program or whatever. Carquette's not really what I'd call a kinesthetic learner. Hey, I can hold my own in a threshing match better than 99% of this squishy, placid human population on this planet. I was literally trained to become a combat specialist on Alternia. Maybe we should sometimes try to remember and fucking respect that fact about me? Gonna make another mental note about which material to avoid when writing your campaign speeches. Like, dude is nuts with a sickle. Can carve a bloody arc through a surrounding circle of gathered squishy humans, watch their guts spill onto the floor while he roars at the sky in honor of his genocidal ancestors. We're kind of trying to downplay the idea that trolls are naturally good at violence and shit. Hey, speaking of which, Jake, you want to back Carquette in this election or what? Jake spins around in his worn boots. Oh, whoops. Gotta remember my narrative voice.
Jake spins around in his worn boots. He bites his lip and looks at the ground.
I see. That was your purpose in coming out here. Yeah, that is basically the only reason either of us would waste time climbing a mountain instead of, like, almost perfectly replicating the experience by checking out sweet stock photos of a mountain on the CrockerNet image search while spraying our hive with fresh air with air fresheners or something. Oh, hey, wait, that reminds me. Isn't it fucked up how Jane literally owns the internet? I never thought about it, I admit. It's pretty fucked up, trust me. Like, she already owns the major... she already owns the major method of information dissemination, and now she wants to be the one ultimately in control of what information gets disseminated. Do you really think one person should have all that power? The answer is no, idiot. Thank you, Carquette. Yeah, which is why you should back us in our campaign. Our campaign slogan for the purpose of this conversation only is, hey, isn't it cool how we're not Jane and also we don't want to own everything? And also, man, on a more personal note, I mean, have you seen the shit Jane's been saying about you in the media?
A look of sadness sweeps across Jake's face, but he quickly turns it into a glare of indignation.
I've seen the shit you've been saying about her. Your poorly optimized billboards about huge dunks on the economy and neoliberal austerity measures tumbling down geometrically improbable staircases have made quite a stir in the neighborhood. These advertisements play at all hours of the night. My God, man, one can hardly get a wink of sleep. Yeah, but at least we paid for it out of our campaign dollars instead of spinelessly setting up super PACs to spew out propaganda for us. Super PACs? Oh yeah. Listen to this bullshit. So they're technically expenditure or independent committees, meaning that they can allocate unlimited funding for. So Dave covers Carquette's mouth.
Dave covers Carquette, or other way around. Oh my God, words. Carquette covers Dave's mouth, having had the concept of the super PAC laboriously explained in his presence more than once. In his estimation, there are few individuals on this world who would benefit less from an in-depth discussion of political financing procedure than Jake English.
Hey, I wanted to hear that explanation. What the fuck? Also, don't condescend to Jake English's intelligence by saying that few individuals in the world would... Wait, am I reading this? There's double negatives in there. Or something. Right, few individuals would benefit... No, she's saying that Jake English would... really not benefit from an in-depth... Yeah, no, I read it right the first time. What the fuck? They're insulting... See, that's not, like... That's not Callie bias. That's, epilogue authors bias against Jake English. Because, like, that's not coming from Dirk. Look, Dave, Jake really doesn't care what a super PAC is. I don't think anyone cares about fucking super PACs. I know you put a lot of work into your spiel about it, especially the rap sequence. But you're never going to get anybody to give a fuck about this stuff, man. I'm sorry. Jake, the point is this. Jane is having you smeared indirectly. Well, that would be a way to do it, I suppose, if you wish to keep clean hands in an inherently dirty business.
Dave peels Karkat's hand off his mouth and bumps him away with his hip so that he may continue saying things he regards as terribly important for others to hear.
Okay, but that's partially my point. We're doing all our propaganda in-house instead of outsourcing to unscrupulous shadow networks with deep money pockets. For better or for worse. What does that mean? As much as I appreciate your artistic vision, Dave, I think your political ads are largely going over people's heads. They're kind of... bold? No! Oh, you mean avant-garde? Well, yeah, everyone knows that. Not really how I would put it either. Nuanced. Oh, wait. Visionary. You think they're visionary as fuck. Okay, yeah, you got me. I'm a forward thinker, Karkat. This is just what life is like in the Dave lane. Buckle the fuck up. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm gonna say this for the last time. Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff is absolutely horrendous subject matter for producing campaign ads. Nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about or what points you're trying to make. Yeah, it's awesome. You're wasting campaign money. We're fucking trillionaires, dude. Oh my god. All of a sudden they're like, well, he's been using Sweet Bro and Hello Jeff in the campaign ads, and it's like, God, fucking damn it. That just... I mean, like, it's so perfect, but also just like... Dave, how can you think this is viable?
As the Ventus campaign bickers internally, Jake becomes pensive, thoughtful. He kicks a rock over the edge of the trail and watches it bounce down the mountain with a baleful expression.
Willikers, Dave, has anyone ever told you that you have an uncanny talent for cutting straight and incisively to the point without sweating any of the bullshit? You're rather like Dirk in that way, actually. What?
Dave is good at cutting through bullshit. Strider is a fog machine of pure bullshit. There is nothing that comes out of his mouth that is not bullshit.
That's basically true.
And I'm pretty sure Dirk might be even worse.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry, Jake. I know we're soliciting you for the sway...
Yeah, no, I got that.
Sorry, Jake. I know we're soliciting you for the sway your hot popular ass has over the people, and not exactly your brain power, so maybe this is somewhat unfair, but... this may have been the worst take I've ever fucking heard in my life.
Whoa, chill out, man. Remember, we're trying to woo this guy onto our side. Can you maybe go at least a solid minute without forgetting you're a fucking politician now? That means you should try not to insult everybody you meet multiple times per sentence.
Fuck! Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Jake, for implying that you have slightly less cerebral processing power than the sweaty wedgie this fucking suit is giving my throbbing hike-sore ass.
Nope, that still sucks. You suck, dude. Oh, Karkat. Yeah, well, chew on this, master strategist. Maybe you telling me I suck is actually the smartest thing you've ever fucking said. Gentlemen, jeepers fucking Christmas. I was just trying to pay Mr. Strider a gracious compliment. Not every little pleasantry needs to be taken with such blasted literalism. And I appreciate that you're trying to sway my political favor into your bungalow with a bit of the old elbow grease and cajolery, even if your methods are wont to veer into full-throated invective in virtually every single exchange, no matter how harmless the topic. And I truly mean it when I say I do appreciate the effort, both at the brown-nosing as well as the dubious restraint when it comes to impunging my noodle. But all this is adding up to make me wonder.
Jake slices a hand through the air, determined to display his newfound autonomy. It's growing by the minute now that his thought process has been severed from the prince's grip. An old confidence fills him as he continues to speak, a feeling of inner freedom he hasn't enjoyed in some time.
You go, Jake! Why should I side with either of you? I mean, like, that's... let me finish. Okay, wait, let me finish. And I forget everything that he says here. Let me finish reading that. Why should I side with either of you? Flattery is all well and good, but I hardly think I would bother casting my knickers in with anyone's lot based on the quality of praise, or, for that matter, withholding them due to having my ego bruised from a verbal drubbing. I'm not entirely ignorant to the rules of this jamboree. I understand that whoever I endorse will have a good chance of winning on nothing but my good word. So why should I trust anyone to win my favor right now? Do you have any case to make which does not involve glowing accounts of my muscular bottom? I know it seems like an objectively good thing from some pithy moral standpoint to let everyone in this little drama Jane's cooked up make their own decisions, but trust me, Jake isn't thinking for himself any more than he was while being indirectly controlled. Everything he's thinking and feeling right now is merely reactive. He's like a mostly dead bug twitching around on the last of its hemolymph after getting its head cut off. Under my guidance, he was like an ant being influenced by the cordyceps fungus. You can't really call one of those better than the other, but at least the latter is being directed towards some greater purpose. Hey, Dirk! Go choke! All of that is so horrific. I don't even know where to fucking start addressing it. Just, Dirk, go choke.
For a moment, Jake thinks he hears something, a minuscule voice prattling along vaingloriously, but he realizes it's only a tiny insect buzzing about in his ear, a gnat-like presence of absolutely no consequence at all. He simply waves it away.
Fuck yeah. Okay, we can do that. You mean like an actual pitch on policy or shit? Or vision for the world? We can set you up, bro. Or I mean, this guy can. That's what he was made for. Born fucking leader right here. What? Take it away, man. Our boy Jake here wants to be goddamn dazzled.
Dave grins and affectionately taps Karkat on his head with his knuckles. Karkat unwinds from Dave's loose embrace, takes a deep breath, and clambers up to the ridge to speak with Jake in a more personable proximity. He has learned new methods for connecting with others on the campaign trail, how to speak boldly with sweeping conviction, and yet create a sense of intimacy when addressing an individual. He has learned to come across as one who was once a leader and could be again.
Fuck yeah, Karkat. Look, Jake. I'm not going to try and sell you some ludicrous story about how I'm the best candidate Earthsea has ever seen or anything. I'm not going to be that arrogant, especially since my arm had to be twisted right out of its socket to get me to even run. But at least we're not hiding our intentions. At this point, it's not a policy beef that I have with Jane Crocker. Yeah, I'm the one with the policy beef. Corporate welfare destroys public infrastructure. Shut up, I'm talking. Word. We're still living on an incredibly young planet. Let's be real. Every president up until now has just been some bozo basically play acting at being in charge. Because this whole time, everyone's been holding their breath waiting for one of us to run. Whoever wins, me or Jane, will set the tone for subsequent administrations for who knows how fucking long. It's entirely possible that Jane will prove to be a competent president. I have no doubts on her administrative acumen, considering that she's probably the only considering that's probably the only fucking thing she has going for her, besides a series of physical attributes, which I keep being told aren't too hard on the eyes, but frankly, I still don't know if I'm seeing it. I mean, she's like, alright, I fucking guess. No, let's not be too unfair, old chap. I think I'm allowed to be unfair when she's holding the reproductive rights of my entire species hostage. Ah, point well met. Jake, she will set a horrible precedent. She's indirect, she's privileged, she's concerned with how things look rather than how things are. No matter how nice she was when you were kids, her dedication to the appearance of that niceness has already led her down a path of corruption and duplicity. Because when you live inside a skin that's a lie, you'll either grow to fit it or collapse under the unbearable weight of your own shit-spewing cognitive dissonance. Trust me, I fucking know, because I used to spew an untold amount of shit. Yeah, used to. Dude, what the fuck do you want? Get off my bulge. You want me to spend some fucking gold to bust out the good shit? There, I said it. That was the good shit. I'm done. I did my thing. This mincing halfwit in the tiny shorts can do whatever the fuck he wants now. Fucking legendary speech from Carcat once again. No, man, that was good. I was just messing with you. Great job, dude. I love it.
Jake chews on these remarks for a minute. He loves Jane and Dirk dearly. He has loved both of them for years, on and off, in multiple fashions and configurations, in accordance with the human understandings of this feeling. He thinks it could break Jane's heart were he to oppose her. And yet... and yet, hasn't she fired the first shot by broadcasting such scandalous things about him in the media? And it was so soon after they nearly had an intimate reconciliation. The more he thinks on it, the more Jake struggles to believe in the sincerity behind Jane's friendship with him. And the prince? Dirk, as he knows him, hasn't been given much thought by Jake recently. Jake has been savoring the fruits of a mental liberation he is barely aware of, yet alone capable of comprehending. When he considers crossing Dirk, he's not afraid of making him angry or hurting his feelings. He simply always wanted to avoid disappointing him. And yet, with the cognitive cloud of Dirk's influence dispelled, Jake now cannot shake the feeling that the best course of action will be the one that asserts the most independence from Dirk. Disappointment be damned. And to whatever extent the prince intends to put Jake's life in jeopardy, for now, his agency remains safely obscured from his sniper sight.
Well, dash my wig. I'll do it. Dash your what? Fuck yeah. And Jake has drawn the line in sand. Okay. 12:59, perfect timing. This is a very long chapter, so we're going to stop here for today. Oh my. Forward progress still. So, as it stands, Jake has just declared alliance to Dave and Carcat. John has found Terezi. Jade's body is being occupied by Alt Calliope. And that's kind of where the major plot points are, where we leave it. So, next time we stream the epilogues will be next Saturday. Let me double check my calendar. Yes, indeed, next Saturday night. Yeah, I will likely have D&D again on Friday next week. So, Saturday night, next week, that's 11 p.m. EST, we'll come back to Chapter 31 and keep on moving through. So, thanks so much for joining me this evening. Thanks so much for hanging out. I hope that you had a splendid time. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Splendid time is not exactly what I would call reading the epilogues, but I hope that you have enjoyed stream today. Yeah, that's all for now. Oh! the Rose of Winter. The very last Rose of Winter stream will be this Tuesday, May 7th at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Little Prince Elkintier and his caretaker. The very last Rose of Winter stream. So, hopefully I'll be seeing y'all then. If not then, hopefully you'll be able to join next weekend's stream. Indeed. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, whatever you may be getting up to. That is good night from my end. And Sky and Happy Flight will play us out.